Stars, Mavs.
Ooh.
Oh boy, I don't know if we have time in this show to get into every single detail of what's going on, but Mike, have you ever had a bad roommate?
I've had a couple.
You ever had one you just really couldn't get along with no matter what?
Not one I sued.
Not yet. There's still time. So Brad Townsend, hat tip to Brad Townsend, the GOAT, for breaking this story yesterday, which the timing on it was just happened to be happening the same exact day that the suit got filed, because the Mavs wanted a final answer on an issue that seems to be very big and very long-standing, and you wrote a fantastic piece about it. And you break it down for me, and I'll ask questions because I like playing the dummy on these types of things.
I mean, to be fair, I think I'm somewhat the dummy too. So credit to Brad and Leah, the Stars beat writer over at the Morning News. You should read their work. They're the ones that broke a lot of this, both on the suit yesterday for the Mavs suing the Stars, and now the Stars countersuing the Mavericks this morning. I think it's a very important context. I'm not pretending in the context of the column that I wrote to get into all of that, and I think you do need to understand it because, I mean, this is the most durable partnership there's been in local sports. I mean, since the minute the Stars got here from Minnesota, these teams have been attached to the hip, first at Reunion Arena, now at the American Airlines Center, and it's been going on for a bit that the Mavericks are going to look to do their own thing. That's not really uncommon in sports anymore. More and more NBA and NHL teams are doing the separate arena things unless they're under the same ownership group. Obviously, these ones aren't. But there's a way to go about this, and you shake hands and do your own thing at the end of the day. And then there's what this is, which is really, really ugly. So the long and the short of what's happening right now is the Mavericks sued the Stars for breach of contract. And what they are claiming is that in the original agreement that was set out when the American Airlines Center was built, it was open in 2001, but it was really being built starting in 98. There's an agreement in there that both teams had to have their headquarters or practice facilities in the city of Dallas. Now, for the uninitiated, the Stars have never had an office really in the city of Dallas, other than I think past the first year. They were in Irving, and then since 2003, they've been in Frisco. Both, that's where they practice. That's where the corporate headquarters are. This is something everybody knows. It's a very, very petty thing to sue over, but it's really kind of a means to an end, which is that if they are found to be in violation of this, the Mavericks could assume full control of the American Airlines Center. And they've acted as though they've already been able to do that, right? This is formalizing an action that they took a year ago in October 2024 when they basically said to the Mavericks, or to the Stars, you guys are in breach of contract. We are going to buy you out of essentially the corporation. What is it? The
Center Operating Company is what it's called.
Yes, Center Operating Company. Explain to the good people what that is.
Center. So, I mean, you have to film, whenever you share an arena, there's revenue created. You have to split it. You have to create a company to oversee that. And to, it's a shell company, but it's a company nonetheless that the money filters through whenever gates, hot dogs are sold, parking, things that the arena generates revenue from. The Stars get a share, Mavs get a share. And they were in this agreement to start Center Operating Company, that 1998 keep your headquarters in Dallas provision is in there. And that's the entire standing that the Mavs have. It seems like the city previously ruled with the Mavs on it.
Right. So since that happened, the Mavs have also taken all of the arena gate proceeds that are supposed to be going to the Stars and keeping it in escrow.
So crazy.
Which is a number that's, according to the Stars, that's tens of millions of dollars.
That's so insane.
Yeah, so it's gotten really bad. Now, why has it gotten it bad? Because this is a really arcane thing to sue over, and it's a really drastic thing to take just for funsies, right? This all, if you, going back to the Morning News report, goes back to last year when Irina knows that the lease between both teams of the AAC is up in 2031. There were meetings last year. The Mavericks and the city of Dallas believe an agreement was reached with the Dallas Stars to where the Mavs and the city would contribute $300 million to renovate the arena. The Stars would not pay a dime, but in exchange, the Stars would sign a new deal to stay the AAC for 30 more years until 2061, and then the Mavericks would go do their own thing at a different building in Dallas.
Yeah.
The Stars version of events is we never agreed to that. We agreed to terms that would have had both us and the Mavericks here for 5 more years through 2036, and we would have gone 50-50 on any renovations. The city would have been a part of this. And what you're going to get when you read a lot of this stuff It's a lot of they said. There is no middle ground.
That's a pretty big difference.
Wee bit of a difference.
Let's just pinpoint that, right?
Wee bit of a difference.
If I tell you I'm going to lease this car until 2035 with you and we're going to pay half, and the next time I show up, you say, actually, I thought you were leasing this car until 2061, and I'm actually not going to be here. That is so significantly different that it's borderline hilarious that they're that far apart on their understanding of what happened.
Right, exactly. So the Mavs version of events is the Stars backed out. The Stars version of events is that we got baited, switched. There's a lot we don't know. There's a lot we will not know. My one thing on this is what I wrote about it today for D Magazine over at Strong Side. I guess by the time you see this, it'll be yesterday's piece. My one thing is this. All that really matters is what the implication is. And the implication that's really interesting is the city made a choice, right? I don't know if the Mavericks are right. I don't know if the Stars are right. The city, very plainly in court filings, in documents, and what the Morning News reported, the city very much thinks the Mavericks are right here. And what that means is that we have gone from a world where everybody is speculating that the Mavericks might leave town to now, the Stars' actions in the wake of this, when the city is trying to get back to the table, last month in September, the Stars issued some demands that are the sorts of demands that you don't make if you really want to negotiate. Stars demanded $400 to $500 million. This is per documents obtained by the Morning News, should say. They demanded $400 to $500 million of renovations cost from the city to the arena, and they want no rent. No city is going to agree to that. And the Stars are not dumb. The Stars know that the city's not going to agree to that. The Stars, you say that when you feel like this partnership has eroded and you feel like there's nothing more to say. And meanwhile, here's the city of Dallas, who has very firmly sided with the Mavericks in this. And if you can't get the Stars to go to the table with you, and it's not looking great for their prospects of sticking around, suddenly you better keep the Dallas Mavericks in Dallas, because if you don't, you are the only major media market of your size not to have any of the four major professional sports in your city. The only one. And if you are Mayor Eric Johnson exiting Dallas, this is on you. If you are the new mayor coming into Dallas and both teams leave, that's the first thing people remember about you. It might be the last thing people remember. Ask Laura Miller what she's remembered for. It's the Cowboys and why they're not in Dallas. And so that puts them in a very, very tricky spot, because what do we know about the Adelson family? Well, the Mavericks have said they want to stay in Dallas, but a lot of teams over the years have said they want to work with the city only to not stick around. We know that they own land in Irving, and we know that the Adelsons, if you follow the state legislature and how they've tried to negotiate gambling into legalization in the state of Texas, which is a very big priority for them, these are people you don't want to negotiate against because they are ruthless and they have a whole lot of money. And now, not only are the Mavericks negotiating with them, the Mavericks have no leverage because if the Stars don't want to deal with them, and we don't have any indication that the Stars do want to deal with them right now after everything that's gone down, they have to keep the Mavericks, which means that whatever deal they can cut, if they can cut it, the rest of the people living in the city might not like what those terms are going to be.
I mean, the way that Dallas and that area of the city has survived for the last 25 years is about to be nothing. It's about to be sent to zero, because what has happened to the Stars, or what the Stars perceive has happened to them in this last October, meet and greet of, hey, we think this, okay, cool, us in the city are on the same page, and now you're here till 2061. Thanks, bye. That's their side of the story. I want to hear what the Mavs side of the story is, and the city's already sided with them, so it might not even matter what the Stars side of the story is at some point. And the Mavericks might have already been on the move to find other solutions long term. It seems like no one from the Mavericks side or anything that I've seen is committing to life after 2031.
Yeah.
And so the way that Victory Plaza, the area, Uptown, the entirety of that space has survived is by having whatever it is, 100+ nights of Stars hockey, almost said Stars basketball, Stars hockey, Mavs basketball, fueling that center. And they're building more stuff down there constantly, right?
Yeah.
Because it's actually turning into an area that you want to be in, and it's actually pretty cool now for the first time.
At least for the time being.
Ever.
Yeah.
There's a chance that it gets sent to zero within 5 years. And people start leaving before then, most likely, because you're not going to just sit there if there's no sports being played in the AAC.
I mean, we've seen, look what happened to now Choctaw Stadium across the across the street from Globe Life Field.
Mm-hmm.
They're just struggling to keep tenants. It's kind of a building that it's sort of a monument to the past. There's nothing really going on there. And there's not an entire neighborhood built around that building, right? Well, yeah, an entire portion of the city that has slowly been built up in a part of town that just is struggling constantly to keep people interested and attracted and convinced that this is the part of Dallas you need to be in. I mean, that's a story that's bigger than sports right there because, concerts might come through, but we know that the biggest of the big shows will go to AT&T Stadium.
Yeah.
And if there are 2 other arenas in different parts of town that are newer than the AAC, that's a real disaster. So it's a disaster for that building, but it becomes that much more of a disaster if Dallas can't rally by getting some other new arena inside the city to say, all right, well, maybe we have to raise the AAC and worry about Victory Park later, but at least this stuff is in our county.
Well, and that's the only option the city has right now, looking at that reality, that very real reality that could happen 5 years from now, where you get sent to zero on a place that you probably invested already billions of dollars into. The only thing you have at this point that I see the path forward is to come back to the table with the Mavs.
Yeah.
And probably give them whatever they want for space, for improvements, for... Is there going to be a new space? Are we completely redoing the AAC? What is this family interested in building and developing around it and across the highway and all the way up into Irving? Like there's no path forward for the city right now with what's been stated.
Yeah.
And I think it's so insane it's gotten to this point. And I know it's been a long headache, and it's stated a lot in Brad's article that the Mavericks feel like the Stars have held the AAC hostage. And yeah, that's the sentiment, and that's in the filings right there. But to come to this point where one of the teams that's sharing a building with somebody is withholding their revenue share from the building in escrow in a company in Chicago, how the hell do you get here, man? Like, this is so bizarre, and it feels bad because I know the Stars are fighting against it. They're going, hey, it's not your job to say whether or not this is something you can withhold revenue from. It's the city's job to say that.
Yeah.
And if it's in writing and it's in legalese and it's in there, it's in there. Maybe it shouldn't. I can look in you at common sense in the face and say this should not be in an agreement.
It's so petty.
It doesn't necessarily matter.
Right, and it's worth noting the Stars did, they have made an effort to move some form of office and headquarters here. It's not like when this was brought to them, they said, well, who cares? It was, okay, we'll try to rectify it.
They didn't reply LOL. But, it's to make the jump from you breached this tiny little piece of this contract to now you can withhold tens of millions of dollars
it's
from
wild.
Your co-tenant. The city, they've already decided, this is decided to me. This is done work. Like we can meme and turn around and go do something else because they've already staked their claim.
Yeah.
The Mavericks are on the right on this, and you are not. And now I understand where the Stars are standing. Like, I understand why they would not want to deal with the city moving forward. Yeah. I totally get that. It's nuts, man. It's absolutely insane. And whether or not you think whoever's right or wrong in all this, like, no one right now in Dallas is going to think the Mavs are right about anything.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, pretty much every sentiment I see online, whether or not you've read the story, you could tell who's read the story and who hasn't read the story. It's unanimously the Mavs did this, so the Mavs did this wrong. And again, I don't know. What I do know, though, is that there are no real winners in this scenario, other than maybe the Mavs might be the one big winner in this because they need Dallas to go to the table. And if somebody beats Dallas's offer, that is going to be for a really good offer, right?
Yeah.
But the people who are the fans, well, guess what? It probably means 2 arenas in 2 places where people are paying taxes. Yeah. Because an NHL team in the open market, cities are going to line up for that, right? The report that came out, so coincidentally from the Dallas Morning News, funny how that works, that a few hours later, they just happen to have the exclusive lineup that they are eyeing the Willow Bend Mall site in Plano. Well, Plano's a city that was in the 90s, the it suburb up north, and now it's Frisco. So if you're Plano and you want to snatch some credibility power back, well, an NHL team would do that, but you're going to have to pony up. Well, who does that go on to? Taxpayers. Mm-hmm. If Dallas gives the Mavericks everything they want, which they're probably going to try to because they need them, who's going to foot the bill on that? It ain't going to be the Adelsons.
Right.
They can afford it, but they don't need to now. It's going to be, tax breaks? Absolutely. You want to destroy City Hall? Sure. I don't think there will be much off the table because they're in a really really, really bad spot.
Yeah, and the relationship's always been complicated. If it's example of in real life, I had a roommate that got a job and graduated before I did, and he wanted to buy the nice washer and the nice dryer for the house, and he just did it and expected me to split with it, and I was like, buddy, I'm doing 20 hours of college work right now. I get to bartend like 3 times. Your numbers are different than my numbers right now. Congratulations on the security job you got, but I'm not making that money. So it's been that way for 25 years. NBA money is different than NHL money.
Right.
It just is. And so the frustrations of that with a new owner, with a lot of different changing hands on one side,
yes,
from Mark Cuban out the door to St. Marshall out the door, I think these relationships and who was signing up, I lived a lot of similar scenarios where you didn't know who was saying yes or no on things.
Right.
And I feel like that's where the Stars maybe got frustrated is whatever happened in October. We're here till 2035, right?
31, but yeah.
31. Well, the Stars thought they were
together. The new thing.
The Stars thought the new proposal was for 2035.
Right.
Well,
yeah.
Okay, no one got that in writing. Did you talk to the right person? And
meanwhile, the Stars are an organization full of continuity, right? Brad Alberts is the president now, took over for Jim Lights. You could trace the line between those two guys for a very long time. Jim Nill, one of the most long-tenured and successful general managers working in sports right now. Tom Ghilardi's been here for 15 years. You know who you're dealing with the Stars.
Yep.
The Mavericks, a lot of the time, I think this is fair to say, even in the building, you didn't know who you're dealing with, much less dealing externally with those forces.
Yeah. The Stars need the Mavs way more than the Mavs need the Stars. The Stars need a different city if they're going to build a new arena. The Mavericks, it doesn't seem like they do right now because they have all the leverage.
Yeah, and it's the leverage maintained by people who know how to exert force when they have leverage.
It is some Succession level like mastercraft.
Yeah,
that they have this quickly gotten this much leverage in the arena negotiation situation. Like it's kind of impressive. Like I was like, how'd you get here?
Yeah,
because everyone that can read tea leaves is like, oh, maybe this is an Irving thing. Maybe this is somewhere else. They're not going to get what they want from Dallas. Now, today, there's a split. There was yesterday what you thought about the arena, and now there is today what you think about the future of the Mavs, the AAC, and Dallas.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, it's a huge moment. And look, this lease is not up for 5.5 more years. We are going to be here for a while talking about all this stuff.
Yeah, and it's been happening way longer than people think. Like
it has, but now that it's out in the open, like you said, that's the moment where you can't cross back over the Rubicon.
Yeah.
Between people knowing what's really going on and then suits going in both directions.
Yeah, that's gonna get gross, man. You don't want this type of thing to get to suits.
And it just sucks because what is the last year of Dallas sports been like? It's so crazy to think about what it was, but think about Dallas sports in 2024, right? Rangers Rangers come off a World Series win. Stars and Mavs in the conference finals. I was having people in different cities who were just like, man, what's it like living here now? Or just like, oh, these freaking Dallas teams again. Like this city was on top of the world. And then what's happened since then? Luka gets traded. Micah Parsons gets traded. Now you have this, and all of the negative all the headlines about this city in sports outside of this city are just what the hell is going on in Dallas? What is going on right now? It's bizarre and it's kind of exhausting to live and work through because all of the credibility that this city has had, all these strides that it had taken as a power player. I remember growing up. You're not even growing up so much as just being in college, right? The 2000s when Boston, just everything was going Boston's way. Every sport, all the time, Boston was winning. And it wasn't just about the championships. It's if you were from Boston, you were the city that everybody was envious of. That's bigger than what these teams are doing. And that's what, that's what a lot of this show and this site that we run, it's about stuff that's bigger than sports. A lot of Dallas is about trying to measure up to other cities. Mm-hmm. And a lot of how Dallas has done that is through sports, right? This is legitimately one of the best sports markets in the country. Mm-hmm. And now you have this stuff playing out. And it's not good. Nobody's winning in this other than the Mavericks, which I suppose, maybe they're happy that way. Who knows? But they seem to be the only winners. And everybody else, a lot of other people are going to be losing in this deal. And it doesn't seem like it's going to be resolved anytime soon.
Yeah. It's going to get messier before it gets cleaner. That's a guarantee. I don't think the Stars have, countersuiting the day after is kind of like, okay, you have to do that, but this is going to be really bad for Dallas fans, and that's all I can think about, man. Yeah. Because if there's some discovery, if people file certain things, that's why you don't get into these silly situations, man. You got to have good relationships with your roommates. You have to.